What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Scooby, and I am here today in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duels. This is a little bit of a problem for Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duels, and they're going to have to probably roll out a ban list for this. This is the Banquet of Million decks, and this is a lot of people's bots have been using this, so people have fake accounts where their bot just plays for them, and it just if it finds an opponent it's not going to win against, it just quits. If it finds a person within the parameters of winning, it's just going to destroy them in 1 or 2 turns, and there's nothing they can do. So this video is kind of like how to fight against. Basically, everybody's using this Banquet of Millions deck, so you're going to use it too, and we're going to be doing anti-Banquet. So what it is it's a Burning Abyss Banquet deck, BA Banquet, and the resources that you use in the BA engine are basically for free because you're going to be specifically taking cards out of your deck and throwing them into the graveyard. And then you're thus increasing your chances of drawing the trap combination that you need significantly. And there's also things like Ring of Destruction. Every time he plays a card, I'm going to make him pay for it. And so the way that this works is Banquet of Millions will banish a number of cards from my extra deck face down and then from my opponent's face down. So your object is to hit 15-15. And what that's going to do is put 30 cards in the banish, and then you're going to follow it up with DD Dynamite, which is going to do 300 to the player for each card in their banish. So it's going to do 4,500 per activation. So most people, when they see you starting to set up Banquet of Millions, they just quit like that. And this is the problem that you're going to see in Yu-Gi-Oh! Coming is there's going to be a lot of people that, for free-to-play players, they're not going to be able to deal with this at all. This is going to completely devastate them. They're most of the time, they never even get to play a card. And it's probably going to have to be an emergency ban list. Here's for the card Banquet of Millions right here. Banish any number of cards from the extra deck face down, and banish the same number of face down cards from the opponent's extra deck face up until the end phase, but you can only activate 1 per turn. So you see the setup. The Lilith is going to banish itself. I'm going to force him to give me a DD Dynamite because I'm going to show him 3 of them. Dawn 1000. This card right here is actually broken in and of itself because I couldn't get the combo off, and Dawn 1000 just keeps him locked for turns and turns, just for long enough for me to say no. Like he's trying to fusion. This is a Shadal deck. He's trying really hard to get something to fuse, and I'm just not gonna let him do anything. By the time he gets to fuse once, he's gonna have no life points left. And this deck really only works in Master Duel because it's a format where you only play 1 game. And if it was a match, these people would side in game 2 and completely destroy this strategy. So you will see a lot of bots playing this deck because they don't have to have any intelligent interaction with the game. Basically, if you have a 15-card extra deck, it's a guaranteed loss. If you have less than that, my deck's built differently to adjust for that. Like, that's why I run these Ring of Destructions, and I'm just throwing them around. I'm trying to get them to 4,500 so that only one DD Dynamite kills them. But every time he tried to fuse just now, nope, took his entire extra deck away from him. And then follow it up on the resolution with the DD Dynamite. He really never got to play the game. How is he supposed to fusion if I take his entire extra deck away? Like, I've taken a card that's supposed to be very defensive and turn it into an offensive card. It's just too hard to deal with. There's a lot of people who've been building this deck out here, and they've been doing purely the offensive version of it. But if you play BAs in it, you actually turn the weakness of Banquet of Millions into a strength. Like, this is probably the guy who put up the biggest fight against this deck, and he still loses in the end. And you have to admit, this is a degenerate strategy. I'm not playing a combo. I'm not building a huge deck. I'm just literally playing a bunch of trap cards. See, the barrel behind the door is important for my build. Let's pause real quick. Because if I play against this deck, they can't beat me because I have this card. Activate when a card effect activates that would inflict damage to you inflict the damage to your opponent instead. So this works for any card that I activate, any card that he activates that deals damage, period. So I could Ring of Destruction and he'll take the damage twice. He could DD Dynamite me for game and I'll shoot him in the head with it and just blast his brains out. It's like an instant full counter. And see, this deck right here, Dark Magicians, is actually built towards like restrictive play, so I shouldn't be able to beat it with a trap deck. But the fact of the matter is, he needs to activate cards through the graveyard. So this Macrocosmos in this deck is for free for me because I don't play anything. That, like, once it's gone to the graveyard, I don't care. So if it's banished, it's just, it doesn't matter to me. But for him, his entire Magician deck is fueled by getting sent to the graveyard. And you see, I made him take the Ring of Destruction twice. Usually Dark Illusions would start a chain combo that would end him infusing for his Eye of Timaeus, but it's getting banished as soon as it hits the field because it can't go to the graveyard. He can't summon Dark Magician to Dark Magic attack. He finally gets a card that's gonna let him XC, and I tell him no XCs. So he gets rid of my Lilith instead. It's the first time he ever got to play a card, he killed himself. It's just not a fun deck. Like, the main problem is there's going to be a lot of free-to-play players that are trying to actually earn cards, and they're just going to be fighting 20 of these guys. And so yeah, this is basically what you do. If you don't get the combo that kills them, you just keep flipping through your deck. You also have options to go into, like, rarely I have actually pulled off a kill with Nightmare Shark, get 2 overlays, and you can just attack directly for 2k. I use the Dimensional Barrier because of that stupid Numeron deck. That's the only deck that's kind of annoying to deal with, because by the time you have your DD Dynamite set up, they've already used 5 cards out the extra deck. So it's not hitting that hard. So I really want to start the first 2 turns by telling them you can't XC, you can't XC. It's just to keep them above 13 cards. You really want them to have 13 cards in that extra deck for your Banquet. So your main combo is your normal summoning Lilith, killing herself, and then you're gonna whichever one of these cards you don't have, Banquet or DD, you're gonna show your opponent 3 of them, and then you're gonna get 1 at random, which is, you're gonna get the one you want. And then the rest of the game, you're just idly playing by, slowly ring and defensing, magic cylindering. If you're playing the mirror match, you barrel behind the door. You have Trap Trick, which will let you banish any one of these cards to get them. The only cards you can't search for in this deck would be the macros, which you don't really want to see them that often. You don't want to see macro until you already have 4 other trap cards. So it's perfectly fine to run macro. Everything else in the deck either destroys all the spell and trap cards, resets your hand, or this down 1000. Well, this card kind of locks the deck, and this is what takes it to the level of being broken. When this card's activated, both players lose 1000 life points. If they do, they draw 1 card each. All cards that are drawn while this card's effect is applied must remain revealed. So everything you and your opponent draw from that point on is common knowledge to everyone. While a player's spell card in their hand is revealed by this effect, which a lot of spell cards are in the current meta, that player cannot normal summon or set monsters. So you'll literally, you'll have the Dark Magician guy, anything he plays goes to the banish instead of the graveyard, and he's not allowed to normal summon. So he literally just couldn't play. So I'm seeing a couple hits that might have to come to specifically Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Masters. And I think that's the video for me today. If you guys like this, if you guys have any comments, if you want to post your Banquet of Millions build on here, or any other cool build you want me to talk about, let me know. Alright, you guys have a good one.